Have you ever been told you're a burden, that the very person you gave life to now sees you as nothing more than a problem to be managed? That's exactly what happened to me. At 68 years old, after raising my daughter alone, after working 2 jobs to put food on her table, she looked me dead in the eye and said, "Mom, you're going to a nursing home." But what she didn't know was that I had one last card to play, an old friend, a sharp memory, and the law on my side. My name is Margaret, and I thought my daughter, Claire, was my pride and joy. I raised her single-handedly after her father walked out. I sacrificed everything, vacations, luxuries, even my own health, to make sure she had a future. But life has a cruel way of revealing truths. It began when I overheard Claire on the phone with her husband. "It's too much," she said. "I can't handle her anymore. The doctor visits, the groceries, the bills. She's draining us. Next week, we'll finalize the papers and get her into Sunny Hills nursing home." My heart stopped. I wasn't a human being anymore. I was baggage. When I confronted her, she didn't even flinch. "Mum, you had your life. Now it's time for me to have mine," she said callously. "I can't be your caretaker forever. You'll be safer there. Safer." The word stung. It wasn't safety she wanted. It was freedom from me. That night I sat alone in my living room, the walls closing in. My late husband's photo stared back at me, and for the first time in years, I cried like a child. Then the phone rang. It was Thomas, an old friend from my youth. We hadn't spoken in ages. "I heard through the neighborhood grapevine what Claire's up to," he said. His voice was steady. "Margaret, don't let her do this to you. You have more power than you realize." Thomas wasn't just any friend. He'd become a lawyer, retired now, but sharp as ever. He came over the next morning, briefcase in hand. "We need to talk," he said. I led him into my den and closed the door. We spread papers across my dining table, my house deed, my bank accounts, and something Claire never knew about, an old trust fund my father had left me. "Legally," Thomas explained, "she can't force you into a nursing home unless you're incapable of caring for yourself. And from what I see, you're far from that. In fact, you're sitting on assets she clearly doesn't know exist. Assets she's probably counting on inheriting." For the first time in weeks, I felt my spine straighten. Thomas helped me draft new documents. I transferred my house into a living trust, naming him as the trustee. I updated my will, cutting Claire out entirely. And then the DA. We planned a little meeting. When Claire came home that evening, I was waiting for her at the kitchen table. Thomas sat beside me, his presence making her uneasy. "What's this?" she found. I spoke calmly, though my heart pounded. "Claire, I know about Sunny Hills. I know what you've been planning, but you should also know I'm not as helpless as you think." She rolled her eyes. "Mum, stop being dramatic. I'm just trying to do what's best." "No," Thomas cut in. What you're trying to do is push your mother out of her own home for your convenience. But legally, your mother's affairs are now protected and you're not part of them. Claire's face drained of color. I looked at my daughter, the child I once carried in my arms, and I felt both love and sorrow. You call me a burden, Claire. Do you remember who sat by your hospital bed when you broke your arm at 12? Who worked double shifts so you could go to college debt-free? Who skipped meals so you could eat? A tear escaped Claire's eye, but she blinked it away. I know what I'm doing. Don't make this harder than it has to be. A burden doesn't raise you, I said softly. A burden doesn't sacrifice everything for you. A burden doesn't love you without condition. But you've turned your back on me, and that's something I'll never forget. Her eyes welled up, but her pride kept her silent. That night, Claire packed a bag and left with her husband. She didn't say goodbye. It hurt, yes, but I also felt a strange peace, because I realized family isn't always blood. Sometimes it's the people who stand by you when the world turns cold. Thomas and I began meeting weekly. He helped me set up a small charity in my name, supporting elderly neighbors who felt abandoned. And for the first time in years, I felt useful, alive, and in control. One day, Claire called. It was rare that she did. She sounded tired. "Mom, can we talk?" "About what happened that day. I want to apologize." "Too late," I said. "Apologies don't bring back what you took, Claire. My time, my dignity, my trust. Once that's gone, it's gone." Silence hung heavy on the line. "Look, I'll be honest. I need your help. Michael and I are in a financial bind. I need money." My blood boiled. Was this how it always ended? With Claire holding out her hand, expecting me to fill it. "Don't ask me for anything. If you need money, find another investor," I said sharply. "How dare you speak to me like that?" she snapped back. "I'm your mother. It's the least you can do." "You know what? You're right," I said, rising slowly. "You are my mother. But I won't beg for your forgiveness, and I certainly won't ask for money. I have something you don't, Claire. I have principles." I hung up before she could respond. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. I lived each day to its fullest, cherishing the simple things. A sunny morning, a good book, a shared laugh with Thomas over old times. One afternoon, I noticed Thomas looking at my late husband's picture. It brought back a flood of memories. "Do you ever miss him?" he asked, his voice thick with emotion. "Every day," I whispered, tears welling up. "But I'm glad he's no longer suffering." Thomas reached out, his hand resting on mine. There was a long silence. "Thomas, why did you become a lawyer?" I asked suddenly. "Because," he said, a sad smile touching his lips, "I wanted to fight for those who couldn't fight for themselves. It's what drew me to you, Margaret. You were always the brightest, kindest soul, yet somehow you let others walk over you." He squeezed my hand. "I may be old, Thomas," I said, "but I'm not helpless." He chuckled. "Of course you're not, Margaret. Never underestimate the strength of a gentle heart. A few months later, I woke up feeling unwell. I knew it was the beginning of the end. As I lay in my bed, weak and frail, I thought about my life, the choices I made, the people I loved and lost. One face stood out: Claire. Had she changed? Did she still hold a grudge? I wanted to apologize for my harsh words, to tell her I forgave her. But would she be willing to listen? I sent for her. When she arrived, I saw the same stubbornness in her eyes, the one that had caused our rift. "Mom, what do you want?" she asked, her voice strained. "Claire," I began, my voice raspy. "I wanted to say I'm sorry. I shouldn't have been so hard on you. Raising you as a single mother wasn't easy, but it was my greatest joy. You were my purpose." Tears streamed down my face. "I'm sorry for what happened that day. I understand now that you needed me to be strong, not perfect." I paused, my heart aching. "But I hope you find happiness, Claire, because you deserve it." I closed my eyes, my last image of my daughter, a vision of her standing tall, no longer burdened by the past, ready to embrace a brighter future. This is a true story from a Reddit user. All names and identifying details have been changed to protect the privacy of those involved. And if you like this story, please give the video a thumbs up. Thanks for watching.